So we had another great escape room last night. This one was a zombie theme. And I just wanted to share with you some of the details in case this is something you want to do and show you how easy it is to do. So here are some of the things that we used to put together our escape room. We used a variety of puzzle boxes, which you can find at Hobby Lobby or Amazon, which can be generally delivered within a day or so. And a lot of this stuff I have purchased over the last 2 or 3 or 4 years, and I just sort of hold on to them and reuse them over and over again. But you can find these little puzzle boxes online, and they help you hide stuff, hide clues. These are different kinds of puzzle boxes. This one's a lot of fun. I have links to videos that we have. We have QR codes right here like this. Some of them are inside boxes, or some of them are taped to walls, but these QR codes take them to videos that show them how to solve the puzzle boxes, because they, for the most part, won't be able to figure it out on their own. So we make use of puzzle boxes like this. We also make little lock boxes. Glasses cases are wonderful, make wonderful lock boxes. And if you have a particular kind of lock that needs more space than what this will allow, just drill a hole through it, then zip ties, and just draw the lock right through those zip ties, and you've got little lock boxes. So that works out pretty well. We make use of different types of locks. We use some with keys. We use some with alphanumeric codes, and we have the code hidden in some of the lock boxes. We have the keys hidden in lock boxes. We make use of directional locks. I used 3 different directional locks on this one and had different ways of solving it. This one had a clue inside of a puzzle box, and you can tell by the all uppercase letters which direction to go. Right is up, the R is up. Excuse me, let me say that again. The R is right, the U is up, the L is left, and the D is down, all uppercase, and that helps them solve. And the purple border told them that was a purple lock that went to. Let me show you a couple of the other directional locks over here. So here are some other directional locks that we use. This one is a red directional lock, and these papers were hidden in plain sight around the room. And they figured out the sequence that they go to because these colors have to match. And that tells them which way to go. Now, the one thing that I didn't do is tell them, like, bottom and top. So they didn't know should they look at it this way or should they look at it this way. And that was an error on my part. So I had to tell them that this was the beginning, this was the left, and they read it this way. So up, left, right, up, down, right, left, and up to solve this particular lock. This one is a number lock. I went ahead and put the code on here: red, green, black, and blue. And so I have these DNA strands, since we're doing a whole medical bio kind of thing here. So the red would have to be 3, because there's 3 DNA strands, and then 7 green, 2 black, and 6 blue to open up that lock. This one's a little bit more complicated. And I should have put a blue border around this one and a red border around all of this to let them know that that was for the red lock and this was for the blue lock. Failed to do that, but these were hidden on plain sight in the room, and had to put together this fact that you got a map and you've got places where the pandemic spread. So you had to start with the United States and go down to Mexico, right to Cuba, down to Brazil, right to the Congo, up to Egypt, et cetera, et cetera. That helped them solve that lock there. Couple other things if you need other ideas for lock boxes. Just a regular gym bag. A lot of times they have double zippers, one on this side and one on this side. So again, just put a zip tie through it, and then you can lock the lock on there. Same thing with this one here. I had this old bag that I used. I keep hard drives and stuff in, so I just emptied it out and just put a zip tie here and a zip tie on this one. And when you draw them close, you run the lock through the zip ties, and that secures that box. Here's another little different technique to lock. I just made a little wood box. It had 4 screws in it, and I had my drill hidden in this camera bag case here, which again, just ran the zip ties through there so I could actually lock it. I don't have keys to this. This is something I found like at Goodwill. And the drill was hidden in there, and the drill bit was actually hidden in a different puzzle box, but this is just secured with 4 screws. And so the kids find the drill bit and the drill, and they can get this box open. It had, by the way, inside of it, a whole bunch of keys. And so one of these keys right here were actually on the key rings. These other keys right here were actually hidden in a lockbox. So that's some of the things we did for the lockboxes, the puzzles. Here is, because we did a biology kind of theme, a medical virus kind of theme here, I created these little slides, and you can read that right there. For the most part, you can't read that, but I've got this really cheap handheld microscope on Amazon. And let me see, flip this around and turn that on. Where's the on button? There it is. And you can put it right on top of here, and they could read. And we had the name of the two viruses they had to identify, and they had to use the microscope. These were hidden in one of the puzzle boxes. We had our blood samples that we created. Got some plain labels, mailing labels, and created these different characters. I got Ronald Reagan on here, and Elon Musk, other former students, all that kind of stuff. Just put different names, but they had to find the right samples for the patient X who first got infected, that kind of thing. And why isn't this focusing? There we go. And you can make that blood out of what I used: corn syrup, chocolate syrup, and red food dye. So we just made blood samples here. They had to find a couple of the samples, which we had hidden, again, in our little lock boxes here, glasses cases. We also had the antidotes here, and we had 6 of them. 5 of them were false. Only one of them, there we go. Only one of them was correct. And they had to figure out which one was the correct one by identifying, we had these beakers with colored water. And so like the red was 80, the green was, 20, the blue was 10, the yellow was 6. And so they had to, clearly this one would have been a fake antidote, because those numbers do not correspond to the numbers and on the beakers. These purple ones were just decoration, distraction, that kind of thing. What else we had over here? Oh yeah, we had a light table that we created for these brain scans. They had to find the brain scan, the CAT scan, for the 2 patients that are sort of the center of the virus. And we created this light box. I'm not sure why that 3rd light didn't come on, but there's 3 lights. Now if I hit this, it's going to turn them on and off. Anyway, the way that worked is this was hanging on the wall, and they put this scan right here, and then now all of a sudden you can see the name, and the name of the virus is embedded right there. So you really can't see it without this light table. You might be able to see the name of the patient. Oh, it's hard to read, but you really can't see the name of the virus too well in the dark lighting that we have in here. And so this light table was helpful. We just made this out of some corrugated plastic that we had sitting around, and I cut them to the same size and taped them together, mounted them on some wood blocks to kind of frame it out. I'm not a very good wood handyman kind of guy, but bought these 3 little lights from Walmart. Come with a remote control. Remote controls in the room. The kids can turn this on when they find that light. So that's kind of our escape room. We use this whole space here. It was, by the way, don't use the 3M tape that comes with the lights to hang. And this is what happens to your wall. Now I got to fix the wall, so just a little minor error there. But we use this part of the sanctuary, side sanctuary, as the main part of the escape room. Had a couple of zombies in here. One of them was actually in a wheelchair, kind of shuffling through, creating some pressure for them. What else did we have? This rope. We had the zombies in here, but they were tethered, so they couldn't go very far. They were tethered off here, and they have these little sections with zip ties. So every once in a while, I would set an alarm off, and then they would release one of these sections so they could come further out into the room and create a little bit more chaos for the kids. And sometimes I would have a different alarm and tell the zombie, that would be the signal for the zombies to sort of retreat back to their space. And I told the kids that means that they were getting less excited, less animated, so to work harder during that time period. And then when the alarm would go off in periodic time frames, the zombies would activate and start coming out a little bit more. So that was this part of the sanctuary. Brought a bookcase in, just put some random decorations and stuff on top of it, put some lamps in here, made use of some furniture that was in here, some clues hidden under the cushions, that kind of thing. Now, in the main part of the sanctuary, we had this curtain. We have one of those accordion-style curtains that we would close this off, but about 60% of the clues were hidden here in the sanctuary. So we had free-roaming zombies in here, 3 of them, and we had some great background noise, kind of sort of sinister sound music coming through, and they would have to come in here, shut the door behind them to make sure the zombies didn't get into this space, because if they got into here, it's closed space, and they'd probably die pretty quickly. So they would have to run through here, avoiding the zombies, grabbing the clues, get back over here, and solve the clues. And it was a lot of fun. Had a timer going on one of the screens in here, so they could see exactly where they were at on the timing. Again, the sound and the light's all important in here. So this is our zombie escape room. I'll have links to some of the stuff we purchased online, and I'll also have a link to our promo video and the scenario video, where they watch the scenario video ahead of time and kind of get a sense of what they're doing. I guess one of the things I failed to point out is they had a list of things they had to make sure they accomplish before they get out, and this is sort of that list. They had to get the DNA samples, the antidote, the CAT scans, the microscope slides, the names of the viruses, and we have some zombie cards. These were just placed around here and there for them to find, some in puzzle boxes along with clues, some just sitting here and there on chairs in this sanctuary. They had to grab them and collect. I had 12 out of 20. If they got more than 12, they got time added back, 30 seconds for each card. That way that they could help their time out by getting more cards. So that's our zombie escape room. Oh yeah, one other thing here. This Nerf gun had a couple of bullets. Can't find the other one. It's here somewhere. But those were hidden, and they could use them to shoot the zombie one time for each bullet. Once a bullet's used, it's done. But this would deactivate a zombie for like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever I sort of set. But only caveat is they can't shoot the zombie in the face. But that gave them a little bit of help when things started getting tense. They could deactivate a zombie or two.